It was during summer vacation in 2006 where my little brother had his PS2. My primo received a bunch of PS1 games, and with them was a copy of Final Fantasy IX. I knew about the franchise due to the love of Final Fantasy kits, with Advent Children being released and having my own copy of Final Fantasy 1 and 2 on the Game Boy Advance. So, on a bored summer day, I decided to give it a shot. There has been a lot of discussions and videos made about Final Fantasy IX, so it's hard to say what has already been talked about. But regardless, I want to throw my hat in the ring and talk about what is it about Final Fantasy IX that I love so much. And as much as I love the characters, the meaning of finding a place to call home, to me, the biggest theme for the game is death. In the beginning, you probably play as the standout character of the game, the Black Mage Vivi Onetir. Now, during the time I played Final Fantasy IX, most people knew about Vivi due to his appearance in Kingdom Hearts 2, so it was interesting to see the little guy here. In the game, you find out that 1 week prior to the start, Vivi's adopted father Quan, who was a member of the gluttonous yet culinary skilled Q tribe, passed away, leaving the young boy alone, which, that by itself is a tough situation for any child. Initially, Quan wanted Vivi to grow big enough so he can eat him, but Vivi always stayed the same size. Vivi was not aware of Quan's intentions and lived a happy life with him, being taught about the world and sparking interest in Vivi, wanting to see it, putting him where he was at the start of the game. After the party leaves Alexandria and the evil forest, the party stops by a village called Dali, a small farming town that delivers cargo to the kingdom. With the townspeople seeing Vivi, they assume that he's supposed to go on one of the cargo ships and kidnaps him. It is then discovered that the Black Mages are artificial beings made by the mist that covers the continent, and Vivi being more of a prototype. On the cargo ship, Vivi sees other Black Mages and tries to converse with them, but to no avail, depressing the boy. But when the ship is attacked by one of the evil Black Mages, the Black Waltz, the non-talkative Black Mages try to defend the boy, but were slain in the process. Further in the story, Vivi and the rest of the party discover another Black Mage, following it to a village in Illusion. During their visit, Vivi hears about the concerns of the Black Mage's sphere and finds out that unfortunately, that all Black Mages have a 1-year lifespan. From here, Vivi questions his existence and what it means to live and to die. This leads to a point in the game where Vivi opens up to Zidane about his plight, not wanting to have these feelings, in which Zidane tells him that it's hard to have the answers we want despite all the problems the world has and it's not fair, but you have a choice of having those feelings or not. I have yet to bring up Zidane, as I feel that many discussions have been made about his story as it ties with the themes of home and being the protagonist of the game. But he's part of Vivi's development in the story, fitting the big brother archetype, always giving him a boost of confidence and uplifting the boy when he's feeling down, initially understanding his feelings about his place in the world. This comes full circle in Pandemonium, where Zidane goes through the same crisis about who he is. Empathizing with his turmoil, Vivi takes part with the others in the party to snap Zidane out of his temporary state of existential depression. And after the final battle, Zidane tells Vivi that because of him, he was taught to face his anxiety and take life more seriously, as the party leaves him to confront Kuja, the main antagonist, for one last time. And speaking of which, if there's one person who shares a similar but different arc, it's Kuja. Near the end of the first disc, the party first meets Kuja, spying upon a conversation between himself, the Queen Alexandria Braun, and her knight Beatrix, after the attack of Burmecia, with them fighting the latter, only to lose, with Kuja looking at them in contempt. Throughout the story, Kuja is seen as an arrogant and vain individual, always scheming behind the curtains, letting the chaos ensue in Gaia. Somewhat of a weapons dealer to the Queen of Alexandria and treating the Black Mages and others as toys, all while plotting to take out Garland, his creator. It's when the party ventures into Terra, where we find out that Kuja was initially created to instill chaos upon Gaia, to assimilate the planet with Terra, but was deemed a failure, and was planned on being replaced with a new creation, a new angel of death, that being Zidane. However, when the party defeats Garland, leaving him in a weakened state. Kuja emerges to fight the party so he can acquire the power of trance and finish his Garland. But to have the last laugh, Garland tells Kuja that with Zidane reaching maturity, his life is coming to an end soon, as he had put a limit on his existence. This sends Kuja over the edge. His prideful and arrogant facade is shattered, frantically going from a state of denial to wrath, and destroying Terra in his wake. The party dives into Memoria, the land of Gaia's memories, and goes deeper to reach the origin of life, the Crystal World, where Kuja is prepared to destroy all life so that he wouldn't die alone. With his defeat, Kuja casts his spell Ultimate at the party as a final gambit, which inadvertently sends them to a place called the Hill of Despair, in which, due to Kuja's fear of death, Necron, who due to Kuja's actions and fear, deems that it will turn everything into nothingness in order to eliminate said fear. With the defeat of Necron behind them, and as the party is preparing to depart from the soul-draining Aoife tree, Zidane hears Kuja, and while the party tries to dissuade Zidane from going to find him, he goes regardless, leaving them. Zidane eventually finds Kuja weakened, wallowing in regret and understanding what it truly means to be alive as he passes away. During the end of the game, a dialogue is going through the final scene as it shows what each party member is doing months after the final battle, discussing how, thanks to Zidane, they learn how to live their life to the fullest, and that we will always be in the hearts of those, even when we leave, so we're not really alone, and that the only thing he couldn't teach was what to do when they felt lonely, but that's something everyone needs to figure out themselves. It's hard to hide, but we know whose monologue it is. It's none other than Vivi's. It's interesting to me that both Vivi and Kuja share the same fears, and while they go through different paths, they reach the same end, knowing truly what it means to be alive. Yet it was only one of them that found out too late. It's saddening to know that in the end of the game, Vivi passed, especially that he's supposed to be around 9 years old. We saw his fears, bravery, and overall development, and while we see him through his children, the fact that he's gone, it's bittersweet, and life itself is bittersweet. I'm sure you all know that I'm afraid of death. It's not a deep secret, and even now as I'm typing, I'm beginning to tear up. When I was around 5, my family got our first dog, a half Chihuahua, half Pekingese we named Mosa. I love that dog so much, and she loved me. I always remember her sleeping on my bed. When I was 10, she was hit by a car before I went to school. I was devastated. I never felt that pain before at the time. The pain of loss. I don't remember who comforted me or what was said, but it gave me a fear I never knew. I want to say that I was around 11 years old when I had my first panic attack about death. It was at a time where my mom and stepdad were separated, and I don't remember what triggered it, only that I was alone in a dark room when it happened. These attacks happened to me every once in a while growing up, eventually mixing into a cocktail of depression and existential dread that lasted for almost a month when I was about 19, only to be snapped out of it by something that was life-changing. But that's a story for later. Unfortunately, it'd be 3 years later that my fears hit me once again, when I lost my stepdad. Despite how I feel about him now, the pain back then still lingered, really understanding now that life is truly fleeting. But once again, that's what makes life beautiful, and beauty is fleeting, and life is bittersweet overall. I always told myself when I was younger that I'll overcome my fear of death and the sense of existential dread. But to be honest, I don't know if I ever will. But at the same time, I know that I'm not alone at this. And it's one of the things that Final Fantasy IX tells you, that you are not alone. Thank you guys for sticking around after this and just even listening to the video. I know I'm not the best at writing scripts, and I'm not the best at reading them either, but I wanted to show my love and appreciation for this game. Final Fantasy IX has got me through a rough place, and it is one of my favorite games of all time. And I know that it's been talked to death about, and it's been getting its praises, well-deserved praises, mind you. But I just wanted to still show my appreciation. I want to start working more on making scripts and stuff, because I want to work on an Ocarina of Time thing, like more so not retrospectives, but things that hit me in a way, to put it bluntly. But I still need to upload the last Metroid Prime talk-through solo act. Me and Squish, we're going to be working on more Kingdom Hearts 2. And yeah, I need to also work on my comic as well. So those will probably be the last video of the year in regards to any sort of thing like this. But that being said, you could always check me out streaming on Twitch. You could also read my comic PK Life for Shorts to Have Fun With on Webtoons. And you could also check out me and Danny Dem, which is a close friend of mine. We created a new YouTube channel called Chaos Garage, in which we're going to be doing Let's Plays over there, as well as some other content and whatnot. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out and stuff, and I'm sorry for the lack of uploads on this channel, but I'll get to it, and I'll try to do more for Evil Squirtle as I make my way forward to the new year and whatnot. But as of now, I'm your Shirley Hero, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.